a recap for the Thursday night football games for Thanksgiving for Week 13. I hope everybody had a beautiful holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. Belated to everybody, and I didn't said it already and made a post about it. But yeah, I'm gonna do recaps of the Week 13 game. So we're gonna start with early 1 o'clock game between the Packers and the Detroit Lions. So the Packers moved to 8-3, and while the Lions fall to 7-5 as the Packers won 31-24. Jordan Love had an amazing game. He managed to get over 230 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. He was on fire. Both teams had over 300 yards of total offense, and both teams really averaged the right amount of save yards per play, rushing yards, first downs. They were both efficient on third down, but the main difference in this game is the fourth down efficiency, where the Packers were 3 for 3 and the Lions were 0 for 2. And also the amount of red zone attempts that both had, where the Lions were 66% in the red zone, while the Packers were 100% all the way. The main story was pretty much Jordan Love was able to figure out this Lions defense, in a lot of quarter fours, cover 3, and zone 2 introvert defensive schemes that they was try to dial up. They didn't have no pass rush on Jordan Love. Jordan Love was able to figure out ways to get the ball down the field. He just had a clean pocket, did not get pressure, like not once or twice in this game whatsoever. This just pretty much goes to show you that the Lions, they're not built to get into the playoffs right now. They're not a playoff team at this environment, the way it's continuing, the way it's been structured. So in my opinion, Dan Campbell, him going for it on fourth down constantly in red zone opportunities, where instead you should be taking the points to put the points on the board. I think that's an indictment on him right now, and it's costing the Lions like multiple games. And also, not only them going for it, you lost Amon-Ra St. Brown early in the game with an ankle injury. You hope there's not too much damage, structure, or contact with his injury. So we'll see how that goes later on down the road. But that is just a horrible thing to go off of. So in my eyes, the Packers definitely showed a lot of promise, and they showed that they continue to play like this like they did on Thursday afternoon on Thanksgiving, and they could continue to go in this direction. They will be a dominant force. They'll be a force to be reckoned with, and trust me, you do not want to see a team like this in the playoffs, especially with their defense, with Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, and Luke Vaness, and a really ball-hawking secondary in Eric Williams and Xavier McKinney. So definitely a strong win for the Packers, proving to a lot of teams and proving to a lot of folks why they are contenders in the NFC, and why they could possibly go for more than even possibly winning the division again, even over the Chicago Bears, who I did predict will make the playoffs, but we'll get to them in a minute. Now, the Chiefs and the Cowboys, this is the referee officiating game right here. The Cowboys moved to 6-5, and the Chiefs fall to 6-6. They won 31-28. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, both combination with Dak Prescott offensively, and the addition of Quentin Williams defensively, was able to maneuver and go and try to get Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs off of their stride. But the Cowboys offense, when they just do simple slant route combinations, simple slant passes, and also able to do simple running run up the middle, and also run and get behind the center instead of always being a shotgun. They did those combinations against the Chiefs. Simple, basic offensive schemes. The Chiefs, for some reason, just did not figure out a way defensively to slow them down, and they pretty much would have had the equalizer. The Cowboys had the equalizer throughout, and Dak Prescott, to me, is somebody that you do not want to You do not want to face if they find some way to make it a playoffs. If this offense can get right and get healthy at the right time, this Cowboys team is dangerous, and this offense could take them a lot of places. Salute to Dak Prescott. He put himself back into a lot of conversations for people that he could be considered in the MVP conversation. If they do decide to make the playoffs, that's going to be an accomplishment right then and there of itself. And Brian Schottenheimer make himself a worthy, viable candidate for possibly, if they can make this team and get into the playoffs, a viable possible situation of getting Coach of the Year nods. And I definitely would like to see that, because he is a strong-minded, will-minded coach and a strong-minded, will-minded player. Oh, hey, Marley, how's it going? But yeah, he's a simple, strong-minded coach and a strong-minded individual that cares about the team and the way it's structured. And Jerry Jones made some decisions in the trade deadline that really is helping the team out. All right, let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals destroyed the Ravens in the fourth quarter and second half, 32-14. A lot of people were going to blame. Excuse me. Well, before I get to the Ravens real quick, shout out to Joe Burrow coming back and absolutely eviscerating that Baltimore Ravens secondary. Jamar Chase, like he usually does. Jamar Chase had another great game, 7 receptions, 110 yards. The Bengals just pretty much outplayed the Ravens in every facet except for yards per play. They were way better and more efficient on third down, had more first downs, had more total plays, and it dominated the time possession because they was able to run the ball and they was able to scheme up plays and dial up plays to get to Chase and T. Higgins. And even though Andre Ishavage went out, they still was able to find their way offensively. They're able to dial up plays and get into the game. So, yeah, give a lot of credit to Joe Burrow coming back. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or anything anytime soon. They're probably going to finish with the same record as last year, 9-8. They're hovering on the playoffs, but I just think there maybe had to be too many things to happen. Too many teams had to collapse for it to make it be a possibility, and I just don't see it happening. But let me get to the big problem of this conversation, of this game. And let's start with the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know what this offense is doing right now, but they need to fix their problems. This is 1 week. Is 5 weeks into the season. It was a defensive problem. They can't stop the run. Then the last 4 weeks into the season, the last 4 weeks of this regular season so far, it's been the offense not been able to score. And then these other couple of games, it's the turnovers. Whether it be a couple of fumbles on a play by Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson. Then if the fumble catch by Isaiah Likely getting towards the end zone, or Keaton Mitchell, when he turns it up the field on one play, gets it in for a touchdown. Then the next minute when Henry goes out and there's a fumble by him, like it's just too many mistakes for the Baltimore Ravens that keeps them, a lot of people questioning whether this team can make a possibility and make it all the way. I think because people was kind of rushing Lamar to come back so quickly and so soon, even if he wasn't 100%. Or even close to it, his hamstring must be a lot more serious than what I could have imagined, because he's definitely not looking at 100%. And I think they kind of rushed the injury a little bit too much and rushed him to come back. If he wasn't exactly 100%. But again, I get it. You're fighting for your playoff lives, and you're fighting for division. You're fighting for the division race because the Steelers are failing to even secure it. So I get why coming back. But at the end of the day, for some kind of treatment, if they can do that, because Lamar just does not have the same burst and have the same ability. And if that's going to be the case, what I did say they could possibly still win the division, I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs, because if he's not have the ability to move and get down the field and burst for 30 to 40-yard gains like he used to, if he does not have that same burst and same durability, that's a problem for the Ravens. And they're gonna have to be in a world of trouble moving forward, especially if you're facing teams like the Patriots, the Broncos, and even possibly the Texans or the Colts. They're gonna have those kind of problems moving forward, and you can't have these kind of problems going into the postseason where your offense is not scoring like they supposed to, getting over 20 points per game and having mistakes and turnovers like Isaiah Likely's fumble. So yeah, they're gonna have a lot of things to fix up and crack down in order for me to think that they can make a postseason run. So they have a lot of things to work on, in my opinion. And last but not least, we have the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. I've already talked about the Eagles and their offensive woes and struggles, but let's stick with the Chicago Bears. So they won by 9 points in this game. Caleb Williams did not really have the best game at the quarterback round, but Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift both combined an average for over 125 plus yards, and they rushed for damn near almost 300 yards on this Philadelphia Eagles defense, which they just could not be able to figure out this Bears running attack. And if they can continue to do these kind of things where they're efficient on third down, they're able to rush for almost 300 yards, and not only that, they were able to get 28 first downs, have 44 more 34 more plays than the Eagles, and dominate the time possession. If they continue to do this when it gets time to get to the postseason, the Chicago Bears are going to be an absolute threat to a lot of teams in the NFC, as they're holding the number 2 seed right now with a really big win. Kind of just shows y'all why they need to be taken more seriously. If this team just showed y'all this past Thursday that they are meant to be taken more seriously, then I don't know what does, because they beaten multiple teams with a winning record. And it kind of goes to show you that you guys need to be talking about the Bears more and taking them more seriously. And yeah, it goes to my point where Caleb Williams and his offense run by Ben Johnson as the coach, the play calling and the schemes, able to settle him down, able to settle Caleb Williams down, and able to get this running game going. This defense, they're getting more vicious, they're getting more vaunted. They slowed down the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, he was not able to get anything going. So yeah, this Bears team is very, very tough, and very, very going to be a tough opponent when it gets down to it. And I think they're going to be a team that's going to be, again, forced to be reckoned with. And they made a statement win on Friday in Philly, in Philly, man. Lincoln Financial. They made an absolute statement, and it's going to be a problem for a lot of teams in the NFC when it gets to the postseason. If you got to face them or go on the road in cold, frigid temperature in Soldier Field, that's going to be a problem for a lot of teams, especially if you're not good on the road. And mainly if you're the Packers, or mainly if you're, the 49ers or the Seahawks, you more than likely might have a shot of facing the Chicago Bears in the postseason on the road. Can you guys be able to step it up? But we'll see. The Packers play the Bears later on in the regular season, and I think these NFC North teams will tear each other up. But we'll see moving forward. Now, let's predict these games. Now, we're not going to go through all of the games because some of them are not very much important, like the Falcons and Jets. That's not important. The Saints and Dolphins, that's not important. Like, these games are not really, some of these games are not really that important because they're not really doing anything for playoff sake. But we're going to do a couple of them. But let's start with the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. This is going to be a tough one for the Colts. I feel like the Texans are going to put some points on the board. I feel like their offense is going to move the ball a little bit better than what they have done in the past several weeks. But I think even though they have the Colts favored in this game, I think they might be able to find a way of covering the points. But I do feel like the Colts will win the game. I feel like this is a get-back game for them, and I feel like they will be able to get back to prominence. They'll move the ball forward, Even though the Texans have been the #1 scoring defense, the Colts are probably in most people's eyes, and they're the #1 scoring offense in the NFL, averaging over 30 points per game, 31 points per game. So I feel like the Colts will be able to find a way to get it done. It's going to be a tough game, and it's going to be very tough moving forward. Even if they need to get DeForest Buckner back, and once they get him back, I feel like this defense will be able to change it up. Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward, and Sauce Gardner got to play better in the secondary. Giving up a lot of big plays. That was not the opportunity that I would have loved to see, and what I could have saw. I feel like they're gonna be better in this one. I'm gonna take the Colts to win the game. I think the Texans may cover the number, which is 3.5, but it's gonna be tough. All right, let's get to the Jaguars and the Titans. Jags is 7-4, while the Titans pretty much are fighting for a lottery pick. I'm going, and this has always been a tough game for Jacksonville because they always struggle. They always struggle in Nashville, Tennessee, but this time I think they'll be able to get the job done. I'm gonna take the Jags to win the game, take them in the points. The Titans are pretty much falling from grace. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Jags to win the game and cover that number. All right. I'm gonna go with the Vikings and the Seahawks. Minnesota is at 4-7, sitting at 4-7 with a really tough breaking loss, and they had back-to-back road games going on the road, and a 12th man to face the Seattle Seahawks. It's gonna be an easy one for Seattle. I'm going with the Seahawks to win this game to cover that number. I think it was like around 6.5. I think they'll cover that number. I think Sam Darnold and that offense will be able to have a great game. I feel like the Seahawks will be able to catch the Vikings at a bad time. That running game will get going, and that Seahawks vaunted pass rush, led by DeMarcus Lawrence, and of course Julian Love, and them in the secondary in the back end. They'll find a way to put some pressure and sneak some disguised man coverages and disguised blitzes, and they will be able to get after J.J. McCarthy. I'm going with the Seahawks to win this game. All right, let's go with the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills are 7-4, sitting at 7-4 now with a tough couple of games. Tough couple of games at home against the Bucs and on the road against the Texans, where Josh Allen got sacked 8 times. And the Steelers are 6-5 with a gut-wrenching loss to the Chicago Bears on the road in Soldier Field. They're at home, but this is the game where I think Buffalo will get back on track and get back to getting it going offensively. Josh Allen will be able to find ways to dial up passes down the field, get Khalil Shakir and Gabe Davis going. James Cook will be able to get going as well, have over 20 carries. I think the Buffalo Bills find a way to win this one, 27-17. And that's just pretty much how I see it right here. We're going with the Bills. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Chargers. This is pretty much easy for me, going with the LA Chargers to cover this and win the game outright. Nothing against the Vegas Raiders, but they're pretty much done. They pretty much have salted their wounds, licking their chops, and pretty much pushed their way out of any kind of contention for anything. They're fighting for a draft, a lottery pick, while the Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot. They're fighting for their lives. I'm gonna go with the Chargers to win this one and cover that number. I think they'll get back to what they've done best after that completely just brutalizing defeat down on the road in Duval County and Jacksonville. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers to win this one. And then last but not least, We have the Giants and the Patriots. Yep, I'm going with the New England Patriots to win this game outright. The Giants are absolutely atrocious in every way possible. Their offense does not seem to get better. They seem to get worse, despite a lot of quarterback carousel changes, the injuries to Jackson Dart, and sitting down Russell Wilson. And Jameis Wilson is no better. And then you're facing up against a Patriots team who has won 9 straight games, looking like pretty much, in my opinion, probably the best team in the AFC. Yeah, they're gonna continue to get the job done. I like what Drake made. I like what he's done. Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels done with the coaching staff offensively and defensively. The schemes. I'm gonna go with the Patriots to win this one and taking the points. I think they're like minus 10.5. So I'm gonna go with the Patriots to win this one. All right, and that is my predictions for Week 13 of the NFL. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section down there. In the comment section on this page. Thank you all for watching and supporting the channel, and like it and share it and subscribe. All right, I am out. Peace.